So we'll start with this chair. So it's the Lento mobile. So what this basically is, this is a portable rise recliner chair. So at the back, we've got a push-pull handle here for anybody who's looking to maneuver the patient around. They can hold on to that point. We've got braked casters on all four sides. All four wheels are braked. And so what this ensures is, if we've got an individual with dementia that has the ability to stand, is mobile, then yes, we're going to want to look at maintaining that mobility for as long as possible. Ask anybody with, in that sort of scenario, they will want that person to be able to stand up and move around, safely as possible for as long as possible. So this chair gives you that ability. Okay. Now, alongside that, with this chair, as we mentioned before about the different dimensions we need to consider, we have got width adjustment within the chair as standard. So you can literally just by unscrewing at the back, you can open up the width, you can then lock it back off, or you can bring the width in depending on what you need. And as well as that, with this chair, you can also adjust the arm height on the chair as well. So if the arm height needs to be taller, we've got the ability to actually set that in place, or we can lock it down and we can go shorter depending on what we need. Okay. We've also got seat depth adjustment in here, and we can chop and change around the cushion configuration as well. So we can pop the cushions at the bottom, we can pop the cushions higher up, we can do various different things to actually enhance or support the individual as they're needing. We go with this standard cushion setup to provide and ensure we're getting that good midline that was mentioned before as well. And the lateral cushions in the middle are just a nice gentle support for the trunk of the individual, and it just ensures that we're getting a good comfortable seating position within the chair. So that's the standard one there. With this being mobile, obviously we could do a transfer out of bed into the chair, and then we can move them into a social setting if we need to, and then bring them back whenever they need to as well. It's easy to kind of sit upright for eating and feeding. You can put different things in front of them, tables or trays, so that they can do various activities as well. So there's a whole host of benefits and advantages to this. Okay, and as I say, when somebody is mobile, it does give them just enough independence there to actually get up themselves and come out. We do have the ability as well, with the clearance that's underneath the arm, you can put stand aids in front as well, so it is Steady compatible. So if somebody has good days and bad days, this chair will kind of facilitate that as well. So there's a few things around this that work in its favour. Okay, moving on to these two. We've then got our care chair, the Lento care chair here, and we've also got our Lento neuro chair. Now, we'll start with this one. I'll kind of talk between the two, just to kind of give you a real life example that happened just 2 months ago. So we've got our Lento care chair. This chair, firstly, is used primarily for people that are hoisted. Okay, so their ability to stand and to move is sadly not there anymore. What we want to do then, we want to provide a safe, supportive seat that is going to cover those needs, but is not going to be restrictive. And again, it's going to be mobile. It's got to give the individual the ability to socialise in a communal setting, or to be, to keep, maybe want to keep private. The ability to manoeuvre around on these casters just ensures that you've got best of both worlds there. You would hoist into the chair, and then you would obviously adjust the width, the depth, and everything else. No tools required to do that within the chair until you're happy that everything is sitting right and supporting the individual correctly. Now, with the tilting space on this chair, it just ensures as well that we're actually able to provide that client with a good spread of pressure throughout the whole of the chair. We can bring the leg rest up as well. We've got back angle as well, so there's a whole host of different features and functions within the chair that just ensure that that patient has got every sort of possible position covered to keep them comfortable, to keep them supported in the best possible way. Now, going back to my example that I was talking about, there was an individual chap who has Lewy body dementia. Now, when we were approached, we were initially asked if we could bring this chair out to that individual. The patient's other half was basically concerned that they would slide out the chair if they were in just a standard sort of chair with a flat cushion. They wanted the seat to be raked, which is what this one is, just a nice ramp down to keep that person in position. They didn't have the ability to stand, and so they wanted this foot block in place. There was nice channeled, cushioned. They wanted them nicely secure and in place, and obviously we were more than happy to facilitate that. But as we got to the assessment, as we actually tried it out, there was a few minor concerns, I would say, that we were just a little bit worried about. So the individual themselves, they were set quite low within this chair, and some of the activities that they like to do it wasn't really working best for them. So after trying that for a couple of weeks, we then switched to our Lento care chair instead, and the concerns around the raking and the seat not being raked and the client potentially slipping out were actually dampened quite severely when we actually were able to tilt the chair back nicely, bring the leg elevation up a little bit, and actually also just give a little bit more height to the arms as well to ensure that they were encased in the chair safely and securely. With it being set higher, it meant that the activities and the stimulation that they received on a day-to-day basis was actually a lot more impactful, a lot more beneficial, and so we very much decided this is probably the best fit for that individual. But the idea of trying, the idea of actually exploring these things is quite an important one, because ultimately, as a business, as an individual, I'm not here to shift or flog chairs that aren't actually going to work. We want to, as it says behind me, we want to advance care, we want to enhance life, we want to make sure we're doing right by the end user, as do you guys as well when it comes to reviewing seating. And so we're going to cover and explore every option. We're going to ask the questions we need to ask so that we can actually get to that solution that's going to work best. I have in other instances used this chair instead, the neuro chair instead, and it's worked brilliantly for the individuals there as well. There's very much a mixture of options available and at your disposal. In terms of pressure care for all of these as well, we have, our range goes from a medium memory foam cushion to a gel cushion to even alternating air. So depending on the severity and the needs of the individual, we can match that. We can provide something that's actually going to do the job for that individual.